So if you've been thinking about getting into ice fishing, this video is for you. I'll be explaining what you need and the techniques and what to look for. Or if you want to pick up more tips, this video is for you. Ice fishing is probably one of the cheapest and easiest fishing out there. It's pretty cheap and affordable. Well, not for me because I'm a gear junkie, but we can get into that later. So there's only 4 main things you need to get started for ice fishing. The first one is an ice fishing rod and reel. These are pretty cheap. They range anywhere from $10 to even $300. But generally speaking, they're really cheap, and most of them are pretty good quality. You can find them at Cabela's or your local tackle store. So for instance, this rod, it's a Shimano Conversions, and I paid $60 for it, paired with 500 reel series on it, and I have a 6-pound test. And obviously, as far as action and rod length goes, it really depends on what you're targeting. But for me personally, I mainly fish for rainbow, brook trout, and kokanee, and they range from 12 to about 20 inches. And the biggest I'd probably get is maybe 4 pounds, and that's a really big fish for where I usually fish. So this rod in particular covers everything that I need. And I love light rods. I like the bendiness of this rod. And this, I'm confident if a 5-pound fish is on here, I won't break the rod. And it's super fun having a light rod, because even the smaller fish, it really feels like it's a big fish. It's just really fun rather than having a meat stick. And they're relatively cheap, like I said before. So the next on the list is tungsten jig. You could use lead jig as well, but I do prefer tungsten jig since it's heavier, and you can get them in multiple colors, sizes. But I'd say my favorite color for tungsten jig is chartreuse glow, and it glows in dark as well, which is pretty awesome in low light condition. You can never go wrong with chartreuse, right? So there's that, nice and simple. Okay, now that we covered jigs / hooks, let's talk about bait. So here, everybody has different opinions, but my go-to bait is mealworms. So you could also get them in a pack, in a can like this, or you could get it in a plastic case, a live one, which I do prefer, and you can get them at pet store. And another really popular bait is shrimp. You can cure it with Procure, or you can just use as is. I know a lot of people love to use shrimp, but my personal opinion, I do like mealworms since they're so much cleaner and stuff and easy to use. And obviously the mighty night crawlers, they're probably one of the best bait to use when you're ice fishing under the ice. But I know they work good, but the reason I don't use that much is it's just messy. And it's just messy, so I don't really tend to bring them out. I just rather use mealworms, and they're so much cleaner, and I've caught tons of fish with mealworms. And another option is lures or plastics. You could use that as well. I'd say my probably advice would be just go out there on the ice and try different things and see what works for that lake and what works for you. And the fourth essential of ice fishing is an auger. So you could actually get an electric auger, but they're really expensive. Or if you want to use your muscles, you could also get the hand manual auger, which I've been using for a couple of years that I started ice fishing. But now I have a little upgrade. I have a drill with the auger bit. Tons of option out there. It's whatever fits your budget. Okay, so now that we covered the 4 essential, and these 4 items, that's what I started with when I first started ice fishing. Actually, I didn't even have an auger. I would just go around and find holes that's been drilled already, or ask people on the ice, hey, could I borrow the auger? Yeah, I was that kind of guy. If you have a little bit more budget, next item that I would purchase would be the fish finder. The fish finder, oh man, that was a game changer when I bought this, because and now I don't think I can ice fish without the fish finder, to be honest. Really fun watching it visually. You can actually see the fish come up and grab it as well. This particular model, it's a Garmin Striker 4 with the ice transducer. I think it was retail around $230 Canadian at Cabela's. And this is probably one of my best purchases since I started ice fishing. If you even have more budget, I know I did say ice fishing is probably the affordable, cheapest way, but it never ends, to be honest. If you want to add gear. But it is what it is. So if you want to have more comfort on the ice, I would totally recommend getting a ice fishing shack, so ice fishing tent. It could be pretty pricey at first, and there's two kinds you can get, non-insulated or insulated. And the first 2 years of ice fishing, I had non-insulated, and it did the job with the body heater, and it wasn't too bad unless it was like -10. But now I do have an insulated, which is really nice and really warm inside, but it's probably double the price. I mean, you could always get the insulated and do it right once, or you could also get it non-insulated if it doesn't go down to -10, or if you're planning to do overnight. And the next item that I would personally purchase would be a sled. Sled is very nice if you have a lot of stuff to carry around on ice, and with snow it can get very tough if you have a lot of stuff. It's kind of like carrying all the grocery bag at once. Instead, you could put it in a cart and take it home, I guess. But yeah, sled is a very nice addition if your budget allows as well. And that's pretty much what I would buy if I had the extra budget. And obviously it never ends. You could always get a chair, rod holder, just the snowmobile. It never ends, right? So do your research and purchase it, I guess. Honorable mention would be ice picks for safety. How could I forget safety, right? Always good to have. Might save your life one day. The most question I get is, where do I go when I get on the lake? Well, the first thing I do is go on Google Maps and go into satellite mode, and you can actually see the aerial view of the lake. And I usually look for structure like weedy areas or branches even. You can also estimate how deep it's gonna be on the aerial view of the Google Maps. Where I am right now, there's a bunch of weeds sticking out. And that's a good sign, since there's going to be fish hiding. And another good indication would be if there's any existing holes. And I'm sure if it is your first time here, I feel like they might know this lake better than you. So that's probably one of the good indication. And also blood. Look for blood. Fish blood, I mean. Okay, and the next question would be, how deep should I fish? I've been having tons of luck fishing it this way. In the morning, usually when the sun comes up, until probably 9 a.m., 10 a.m. I like to fish around 3 to 5 feet of water. Yeah, it seems pretty shallow, but they actually feed in the shallow in the early time. And as the day goes, I like to fish around 6 to even 15 feet of water, slightly deeper, because I feel like they're actually moving into the deep during the day. And probably an hour before sunset, which here is around 3:30, I like to go back to the shallow, like first light, 3 to 5 feet.
All right, well, let's see an actual example. This is 3.5 feet deep, just before 9, and you can see how shallow it is. And you can see the fish come by. And it's really shallow, right? You can already see the weedy structure. Very shallow, and it was just on a single millworm.
That's a bigger
nice
one.
and simple with a flasher on top.
That's a bigger
It
one.
was pretty cool. And this is an awesome way to fish, sight fishing. And yeah, as far as the flasher goes in the shallow water, this day they really loved it, but some days they don't like it. But this particular day was great, and it was working really well. And again, tungsten jig on a single millworm.
What?
And yeah, there's actually a couple of other fish coming by, but
There's one. There's one.
Pretty cool day. And again, this is slightly deper, 8 feet deep, close to 10 a.m.
Still down there.
And yeah, again, single millworm, chartreuse jig that I was talking about earlier, my favorite. And you can see the fish finder, the fish coming up as the line gets darker.
There it is.
And this is a big brook trout. Such an awesome fighter. But again, as the day goes, I like to go deeper and deeper.
That's a football, guys.
So this was around 8 feet. Let's see another example. Same spot, but you can already
There's
see
multiple
1, 2,
fish.
maybe 3 fish in the fish finder. And having, for this reason, having a fish finder is so much engaging and so much fun.
There we go.
It's like a video
That's
game
what I'm
almost,
talking
right?
about.
And again, this
There
was
we go. It's being a little sus
such a fun day. But again, fish finder, I highly recommend. It will change your world of ice fishing. And this one, this was during the day, 15 feet deep.
During the day,
pretty deep, but you know, it was around like 1 p.m. ish. So I went deep, and I wasn't actually getting a bite in the shallow. So I went to the deep.
There's one.
And this is what I got.
That's a good one.
And it was the biggest fish I've got this day.
Holy shit.
And yeah,
Thank you.
15 feet deep. That's pretty awesome.
There you go.
And that will pretty much conclude the video. And I'd say just go out there. It's super fun. And get out there with your families and friends, or even solo. I go solo all the time, and just have a great time out there and never stop learning. And stay safe on the ice. Obviously, safety number one. I hope this video motivated you guys to get out there. And if you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below and I'll answer whatever question you guys have. And thanks for watching. And as usual, until next time.